Hey guys, Fix It John here. I'm standing in front of our Lennox air handler, evaporator, whatever you want to call it, but we've had some issues with it within the last year and more recently this last week. And the top two fixes for this unit would be one, a capacitor, and two, a contactor. And this is the contactor here, and I'll show you how to diagnose that. But what had happened was one night the air conditioner just quit working, and I'm going to get further into it to show you what to look for. The fuse had blown in the air handler up here, and I called a friend of mine, and he said generally what happens when the fuse blows, it's only a 3 amp fuse, and that shuts this down, the air handler, and it shuts the condenser outside, and it won't run. But you still have 240 volts running to your condenser out there. So if you want to do this job, you have to be very careful, and I'll show you how to do it. You can do it, and I'll show you how. We also have been getting an intermittent problem where I shut it off from inside, and then I went to turn it back on. This was after the replacement. Now it's been running for a couple weeks. And I shut it off one time to patch up some ductwork up there. I don't know if you can see that work, that was some mastic right there at the top. And I went to turn it back on, and that fuse was blown again. So this was definitely the problem, but I think we're having a intermittent problem with the defrost board, and I've got the board over there. One more thing I would like to ask you, if you guys like this channel, if you like this video, like and subscribe. It puts me up in the rankings better, so more people can see this video. So if you would do that. If you don't like it, you don't have to subscribe, but if you like it, subscribe, and it'll put me up in the YouTube rankings where I'll get more coverage, and more people will be able to see my videos. You are the people that I'm trying to help, and save yourself some money, and me too. Oh yeah, one more thing. If you guys are really going to do some real diagnostics and fix your own stuff, you really need to get a multimeter, something like this, or something like this that has an amp clamp. That is $187. This one here is a little better. Save you, you would pay that for the AC guy pulling up and putting it in park and stopping in front of your driveway. So if you guys want to really do some serious repairs around the home, you need a multimeter. So what I did was I found the fuse up there that kept blowing. I kept replacing it, kept blowing, and I called my buddy and I said, why does my fuse keep blowing? And he said it's probably a contactor. So these contactors are only 15-20 bucks. I picked one of these up, and I haven't had a problem. And like I said, the two top fixes on this unit is a capacitor or a contactor. I do have another video on replacing a capacitor on the condenser, so I'll leave a link to that in the description. So we're only going to go into the contactor today and the defrost board. Hey guys, Fix It John here. What we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to test the resistance so we know the contactor's bad or good. We do believe we're having an intermittent problem, and we do have animals, so if we go away from the house or go on vacation, we want to make sure that unit's working. $130 for this. This is cheap insurance. What the contactor is power is supplied through this plug and this plug, and it goes, and it's looped around this copper wire. These they call them run windings, and what it does is it creates a magnetic field here. This little contraption here, it creates a magnetic field, and when it does, it pulls this contactor down. If you can see that, let me get some light on it for you. It'll pull this contactor down. You see that? And then power enters this side and it exits this side here. If the resistance are too high, it reduces the strength of this magnetic field here, And this little magnet here, it reduces the power from that magnet, and it won't pull the contactor down to make a good connection. If you can see this contactor here, it's a little burnt. What happens when these contactors go bad, they sit there and chatter a little bit where they're not making a good firm connection. You'll hear a little buzz or vibration because they're just bouncing up and down where they're not making a good connection there. I tested the other one, and the other one was like 11 ohms of resistance. So this one here, we want to read ohms of resistance, and it should be within 9 to 11 ohms, 9 to 12 ohms of resistance. Anything more than that will not create a good magnetic field and hold this contactor down. 17.1. So it's getting up to where it's getting bad. Now the cross path here of this connector, it should be within 5 ohms of resistance. And how you do that is you push the contactor down. So it's within 0.2, 0.3. It's jumping back and forth. It's well within range. So it's getting enough contact there, but the bad thing, what went on it was the run windings, because it's not creating the force field to hold this contactor down. So the connection between these two are good. It's the run winding. So you can lose this connection. This can go bad. It can be over 5 ohms or 5 ohms of resistance. Right, guys, I wanted to give you a close-up of the defrost board. Right there, what I was talking about. If you move this, to test the defrost board, there's a way to test it. You move this pin up to these two, and it puts it on into a test mode. And I think I read you can only have it there for 2 seconds, or it'll revert back to regular mode. When you buy one of these boards, it will give you instructions. But up north, they were having problems where, because it's factory, this is factory shipped at 50 degrees. And what that means is this is designed to heat up until it reaches 50 degrees for a certain amount of time. And a lot of times doesn't get hot, and a lot of times that doesn't get hot enough to melt the ice off your condenser. So your condenser is not able to pull hot air through the atmosphere over your coils and heat your home. So what I recommend is if you live up in cold country, we live in Central Florida here, set it down there to 70 or on down to 90. And that way you're sure the frost will melt from your condensing coils. Probably 70 would be plenty good, but I would set it at 70, and if it's still frosting up, I would go ahead and put it down to 90. But that's if you're having issues with freeze up. But I'm going to put it up here on 50 factory setting. Alright guys, Fix It John here. I just want to show you what it looks like in the air handler, so you'll know what to look for if both units stop running. Just for a 3 amp fuse, like I said before, you're still getting 240 volts to that unit out there and 240 up here, but the low voltage controls everything. So we'll take this cover off here. Alright, there it is, guys. It does have a 5 amp fuse in it. That was the last one I had, the only one I had, but let me get some voltage readings in here and I'll show you. See the lights on there? And it's going to this transformer here. And that's reducing it down to 24 volts. And this is your thermostat wire. And what was happening was every time I would put a fuse in it, it would blow. but when I unhooked the thermostat wire that's hooked to the contactor, it wasn't blowing. But you don't really want to be in here, guys, with the power on, because there's plenty of power, and I'll show you what I mean. These here, the stuff with the lights, these are all low voltage, 24 volts. Before you do any work, you need to turn the power off. Lennox is a good unit. I was wanting to tell you guys, so is Train, but they are so doggone hard to get parts for. But the parts are so pricey for these Lennox and Trains. If I have to replace this unit, I'm just going to get a good one. They're cheap, and parts are more readily available for me, because I'm not a certified, you have to be a certified authorized dealer to buy these parts, and if you're not, you have to buy them online and get them shipped to you. We did find one website that we were able to buy it in Kansas City, and we went down to a local store and picked up the fan and module. This is the module right here, guys. It's full of capacitors and resistors, big fat capacitors, and typically that's what goes out on them, probably because all the moisture in there. I wiggled a bunch of wires around last time, hoping to find a short that would cause a fuse to blow, and I didn't find anything. That's why we think we have an intermittent problem at the defrost board. Alright guys, this is why you don't want to stick your hands in here without the breaker off. I'm only doing this to show you the power. Okay, through one leg, we're getting 123 volts. Through both legs, we're getting 247 volts. That's enough to kill you. Here guys, this brown coated wire, that's called your thermostat wire. One leads out to the condenser, the other one leads back into the house. Alright guys, Fix It John here. I just want to show you how to do this. Replace this contactor and the defrost board. Alright, here's the top two fixes for this unit here. The run capacitor and the contactor. Now you see those lights blinking there? That means everything's A-okay. But I think, you know, we may have a short somewhere in there, and it's worth 130 bucks for me to just go ahead and replace it and be done with it. I jiggled all these wires around to see if I could mimic a short. Could not do that. So to see if we have any issues with the compressor or the fan motor there. The compressor is RLA, and what that means is running load amperage. So if it's running and it's 25.7 or higher, the bearings could be going out, the motor run windings could be bad. We're going to check that. Also the fan motor while we have it open. FLA means full load amperage, and at full load that should be no more than 2.8. So let me show you how to do that real quick, and that's just one more thing we can check. Look for one of these wires coming off this contactor here, and with load power, here's a red wire coming from that relay there, and that's feeding power to the fan. So we'll take this red wire that's coming from the relay and attach my amp clamp to it, and it's reading 1.1. It's reading 1.15. So this red one here, we want to read this one because it's coming from the hot side of the contactor. And if I put my amp clamp on it, that one's reading open. Oh, we got it on temperature, so that one's reading 114, 115 amps that it's pulling. 115, 116, 115 plus The other red one coming off the connector, it's reading 116, 115. So that's 229. The compressor run load rating is 25.7. So let's see what we have down here. Okay, we want to find the hot wires going to the compressor. This big, thick red one coming from the contactor, it reads 9.92. This big, fat black one coming from the contactor, it reads 11.99, so 12. Hey guys, Fix It John here. I just wanted to let you know these circuit boards are identical. Only thing that's not identical is this plug right here, that white plug, and I'll show you what it is. This new one, instead of having this brown wire to the coil, it goes all the way down to here and hooks into the condensing coil. It has a resistor in it instead. All right guys, I just wanted to show you what'll happen if that fuse blows inside the air handler there. You'll get no lights there and no power light there. So you may think, oh, there's no power coming to this unit. Well, there's still 240 volts coming to this contactor right here. This is nothing to play with, guys. You don't know what you're doing, don't do it. 247, 248 volts on there. So just because the lights are out right there on the defrost board and the power board, you're still getting zapped. You can still get zapped. So if you put your hand in there, you're gonna get zapped. So what you wanna do before you go working on this booger, before you take that out, or capacitor or defrost board, come over here to this disconnect and pull this disconnect out, and then we'll verify that we don't have any power. Okay, no power, so it's safe to work on it now. All right, you guys remember that other contactor was like 17 ohms of resistance. So let's put our leads on this contactor here. We have 11.8 ohms resistance. So we're well within range here, anywhere from between 9 and 12. And that has plenty of power to pull that contactor, that electromagnetic contactor, into the power. 15, 20 bucks. AC guy probably charge you 300 bucks to come out. John here. I don't know if you remember this plug here. It had this resistor in it. And I was reading on the directions that this is only for single stage compressors. I have a dual stage compressor, and I want to go ahead and use the new sensors. I checked the resistance of them, but they are 15 years old. Or here's the sensors right there. One's there on the coil, and then one just hangs over here on the, this is the old one. Right there, that black one. That's the old sensor. I checked the resistance, and if you get this far, there's a chart here on the resistance. They're within specs for the coil sensors. I'm gonna go ahead and change them because they are 15 years old. But what I have to do to get it out is I have to take a wire and I push it in here, right in here. There we go. It should come out now. Right there. I had to push that in. So I just pushed that back in there. Tug on it. It's not going anywhere. So I have the new sensor coil, new sensors on it for the coil. And now I just want to take these wires off and put them on my new defrost board. And I'm putting them on this one as I take them off that one. Yeah, my friend, the AC guy, he's really taught me a lot on this stuff. And he's my go-to man. Just want you to see on the back of that board, nice and green and clean. I think that was a good call. He said he thought it was the defrost board having given an intermittent problem. I highly believe him. He's been doing this for years and years and years. The contactor, yeah, it was bad. You saw that. Can't wait to show you the back of this board. It has a definite hot spot in it. This plug here, the one I took a wire out of and replaced it with this yellow one, only because it was the resistor was for single stage. So yeah, I got an AC buddy that gave me some help. I did the work, but he pointed me in the right direction. I'm trying to show you guys how to do it now. We're just waiting on the anti-short cycle delay, and that's 5 minutes. In the meantime, I can probably get this thing buttoned up and all right, here's the circuit board, and there's the brown spot right there. See it right here? Right there. And if you flip that board over, and it doesn't take much, guys, there's been some heating up there. If you flip that over, you'll find this resistor right here. That big resistor right there. But you can even see it's brown on this side too. I couldn't see that before, but right there. See it brown around here? That could be a faulty resistor. There's the brown part. There's where it heated up. And if you move on down this end, right here, you can just ever so faint. Sort of brown here too. And if you look on the other side of this, right, and there it is, guys. Just start up. Fans on. And if you see the lights flashing simultaneously, no issue. I mean, that compressor, it just sounds quiet and runs like $1 million for being 15 years old. So yeah, right here, this other resistor here at the other end, it's sort of brown around that. Let's see what it looks like underneath. It may look a little brown right here where those two resistors are. See right in here? It doesn't seem to, well, it's browned out a little bit there and there, so got a brown mark right there. So I think the 130 bucks was well spent. See it browned out right here? Hate to keep going over it, but it makes me feel better that I didn't waste my money. So yeah, I think that's probably what the intermittent problem was that that resistor there. All right, guys, so this is Fix It John. I hope you liked this video. If it helped just one person, like and subscribe. And remember, it helps my ratings and more people can see this video. I'll button it up and move on to the next project. Thanks for watching.